fine. Round 3 and round 4 and round 5 and
Ah,
round 6, it
yeah,
starts
yeah.
stacking and stacking and stacking and stacking, and it starts showing mental toughness, endurance, and everything in between.
Yes, of course, man. Like it gives you so much ways of being able to like analyze different prospects. Cause like in one of the previous matches that I'd gotten to see, obviously round one, it was like seeing how people been able to use damage denial to their
Yes.
disposal, right? Or being able to pressure your opponent during the mid game, or getting a lot more extra aggression and stuff like that. That was like really very key to see in those game plans, and being able to see those players trying their utmost to outfox their opponent is stunning.
Like just recapping that whole game one, and like, every single move was calculated a couple of turns ahead.
Yeah.
Like I am very impressed with the Maggie player. Like you said, the damage knight was probably one of the best moves he could make there. Get rid of some pieces on the Overlord's board, not give him the CB necessary to do the double restand, 4 drive checks, combo, everything. Just get him his own game going and give yourself chance to prep, see more inlets, see better pieces and all that. And the bigger move I actually really like that he did is when Overlord had a turn to do stuff, start hard guarding. We had a glimpse into the hand. He had 2 PGs ready to go. But he instead chose to hard guard, intercept with 3 units with 15k, and then put down another 15k shield to believe make it 3 to pass.
Yes.
And or in this case, no pass, OT. And keeping those PGs, because he knew, okay, eventually I'm going to have to give him CB. Eventually, he's going to start doing twin drive, double swing Vanguard, which means 4 drives with burning horns, big numbers. I need to keep these PGs.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. And talking about like how skillful players can be, right now on round number 3 for you guys, we have Alexander Kwan, the winner of Worlds 2023 piloting ever, right?
Yeah,
Was it?
exactly.
Ever. Taking a deck that was very lowly represented over here in the West. It was like a very big thing in Japan and a lot of SEA locations, and only recently have taken up from has picked up from here over here in
Yes.
the West. Like, how do you feel about that sort of strategy? Like coming from the roots, only like having a promo and now being to a big powerhouse right now in the meta.
Eva, right?
Yes, ever. Yeah.
When it first came out, it looked so cool as a aesthetic, as a gimmick, as what it wanted to do, doing the whole research mechanic. And the first thing almost every single Brink Gate or people that wanted to play Eva fought immediately is like the second we get a grade 1 order, the second we get a grade 1 research, the gates open.
Oh
And we
man.
got it. Granted, the effect of it is even better and it helped, but it opened the gates and gave you so many options. And now with the inclusion of set 8, getting a grade 3 set order, you're always going to play it. Now the effect matters. Being able to look at top 5 to basically call anything, because when you play the order, you basically minus any Brain deck. You play an order, you're minus a card of hand. It comes to the order to give you that benefit, that plus. In Eva's case, with the grade 3 research order, that is that plus. Look at top 5, make a unit. You've basically called a card out of your hand. But for Eva especially, that's a superior call. It's from an ability. What's a card in Eva that gains good benefits when it's called from an ability? Obscurate.
Oh. Like having the grade 2 upscale now in the meta is such a really good way of being able to clear your opponent's aggression. It gives you a way of being able to like toolbox into different scenarios that you can jump from.
Exactly.
So nice. It's versatile. Very versatile archetype.
So I'm going to stop burying the lead because,
Uh-huh.
you can see everything. This is a nice, really good setup. You can see us clearly talking back and forth, but, there's a third chair there.
Oh. Hey.
Hello, I'm not Zistral. You may know me on Twitter, but you won't know my face. I am DieFi OOC. Contrary to popular belief, I'm not actually a friend of Chris. I'm just a random dude. But if you, like me, like Chris a lot, and you like UK Vanguard content, and you want to support your creators, like these fine fellows here, like Zistral, there is something you can do. Well, at least for one of them. If you go to DieFi OOC, that is DIFIGHT OOC, you can send a message to Chris Different Fight And for his 10th anniversary, we just want to make something really special. We want to do something really nice because the GOAT, he's the GOAT.
Yeah.
And as much as you guys are amazing, I think we can all say Chris has been an amazing person in the community and he's really helped out everyone.
Quite literally been in the face of Western Vanguard.
Pretty much.
Dominating the East now as well.
Hey.
Popularized Ava. I think the man needs some respect for his 10th anniversary. However, as you can see, I am not Zistral. So, in a few seconds, I'm going to hand it back to Zistral, but thank you for having me on your screens for a few seconds. I want to say these fine gentlemen are going to be doing some great things today, besides the technical difficulties, but whatever. Hey, what? However, I think we've got an amazing game coming up soon. I just want to say you guys should plug your stuff, because why not?
Oh, they're going to hear more than enough from us. So thank you so much for sharing that from us. You heard the man.
Get on Twitter.
Exactly. Get on
Follow
there.
these guys.
Get
But
on
now, I
Twitter.
will pass over to Zistral.
All right.
Alrighty. So without that being said, let's get into the match.
Round 3. Time
Time
to
to
start. Let's see what we have in store for us today.
You happen to have a very interesting matchup today. It's going to be Alexander Kwan, our world champion, standard format 2023. Man went to Las Vegas, clapped cheeks, came back, and now he's at the VGCS clapping cheeks again over here too as well. He's going to be playing against Marco.
Marco's actually a very close friend of mine. He's actually part of the YouTube channel Overtriggered, and they do some really cool stuff. And per usual, Marco's brought a very familiar deck to our second place world champ, a Youthberk.
Yes, also one of the decks that he played against in the finals as well. But this time, Alex is playing a deck that is close to his heart. He's playing a little bit of Orfist.
Oh, close to his heart and close to yours, right?
Yes, Robo Boys for life. He's going to be playing the Shatter Army token strategy, which allows him to get multiple Shatter Army tokens a turn. He's also playing the new breed 3, the Abdent Robust.
Oh, I love that card.
Yes, it's so good being able to get extra set orders out to your deck for you, filtering your deck for you. A lot of other Orfist archetypes in the East do not really play this card yet, so I want to see how interesting this is going to be in this matchup, because it does eat through a little bit of your Iconoblast. So I'm not deck specialist. I'm over here,
It's a risk return, because the deck also runs Combat Rusher that's also using Counterblast. But the fact of the matter stands, that new card, you said it beautifully, it gets you your set orders, it deck fits. A lot of times when you are going into Regus, like, you can easily set up orders in drop zone. It's ditching, PG ditching, that ditching, soul blasting, whatever.
Yeah.
Easy to put them there. So if you can persona ride, you get them in the order zone. A lot of times, personally, when I've been playing the deck, is you sometimes miss them in hand.
Yeah.
So this is just a good way to go. All right, cool. I'm going to get my order. I'm going to stay at that awkward number, in all honesty, of 3, 5, 7 set orders. So, but I'm going to keep it up, because if I do miss a turn, it's one set order away from the next even number.
Yeah, exactly. It keeps you off your 4. It keeps you off your 6. It keeps you off a potential 8, which have happened once to me. And I will say it's a very scary turn, staring down 40k columns to 70k columns without any triggers on top of them. So right now, they're ready into the match. They're getting started already. We have Alex here on the aggression on a grade 2 turn. It's a very smart strategy from Alex to pressure Marco here, because Youthberk doesn't really do too well with being pressured this early.
I found the Youthberk, the way you need to combat Youthberk is 2 ways. You either damage 9 in early games to prevent the Tempest Plus, so you can kind of get to your grade 3, get your setup done, or you just go the opposite direction immediately and just rush.
Yes, and Youthberk is one of those is one of those archetypes that tends to have that a lot, and you have ways of being able to recycle all your key pieces. You have your grade 2 support, which gets you ways of being able to get back more units off the top of your deck with Knight of Rendering Flash Kybre.
Yes, he's such an amazing card.
Just gets extra extensions for you. Already finding a card off the top here. It looks like he was able to find a Wayward Therapy Angel. Is going to call that to the back row here. which is actually really cool because you can't normal call this out of your hand, nor can you write
It's a
it in.
plus engine. I am so sorry. It is such a plus engine for
Yes.
youth because youth's ability to ditch a card, look at the top three, get anything from the top three, either to hand if it's a revolve form unit, so to kind of set up your main gimmick, or just put a great tier or less rear guard on the board for board presence. Now, in a sense, that's basically a net because you're ditching a card to put card in the hand or on the board, right?
Yes.
With the Angel, you're basically doubling. You're saying, all right, let me Soul Blast and get two things.
And now he's going in for a swing here. It's a grade 2 I don't really see too often, actually. Oh, it's a grade 1. It's Knight of Heavenly Roar, the one that gives your effect triggers +5 bonus. What do you make of that?
So this is, I've talked to people that build the deck, build Youthberk, build tech options, why they run this. I've had so many different opinions, and I can completely agree. It is a late game card.
Yes.
The early game, it's nice, but Youthberk is one of the main things that makes it a very strong and meta deck, and why we see it so much in the top cuts is because next to its 4 attacks, next to its good numbers, next to its deck thinning, well, not next to it, deck thinning, that exact thing. The deck thins to the point where in the late game you have maybe 15 cards or less in deck, but majority of them are triggers. You put that card down, you've built your soul because of Revolt Form, you start soul blasting as much as possible. That means every single trigger now is bigger and bigger and bigger, and just makes the rear guards even harder and harder, even the Vanguard even harder to guard. A 1 to pass certainly turns into 2 to pass. A 3 cards out of hand to guard this attack turns into 4 or even more. It just puts you in a late game position where you're basically telling your opponent, I am in a pseudo final turn.
That's right. You're definitely not wrong. And with Alex's turn, actually, he ended up riding into Orfist, not using the discard skill of Orfist to call a token here, which is a very interesting strategy. I can get the logic behind it, because Orfist does suffer from a situation where you technically don't really have a whole lot of guard value. And now, off the drive check of Alex, he was able to see his grade 3, the one that makes tokens for him, which is great, and he was able to find an Eternity Order off the top one of the world set orders that he needed a little bit earlier. Unfortunately, he was not able to find it, ended up having to discard a draw trigger, I think, off of his Panthehe Dragon. Sadly enough, he was not able to make it, and now he's passing, thinking about who he wants to attack into here. Looks like a perfect guard is going to be used. Okay.
A lot of decks are starting to run that Blitz Order Perfect Guard because of certain matchups, grade 3 decks. Soon we're going to get Stride deck sets. Card's going to be important.
Yeah.
In matchups like this, it's just another PG. It doesn't really affect you much, but I will say it's good to have it and use it as early as possible.
Definitely.
Because it is not I have 2 cards in hand, I don't have to discard PG. It is still a PG. Which means in the late game, if your hand starts suffering, that actual PG could hurt you more than running the don't have to ditch PGs.
Yeah, you're right, definitely. So talking about ditching a card here, he ended up discarding a Wayfaring Angel. He's going to discard a card here. He's going to be using the skill to Superior Call the Angel back by Soul Blasting 1. Now he's going to go on the offense. So you got a no guard. That's a critical. Power to rear.
Let's be honest here. Seeing triggers in youth.
Oh, that's rough.
It's not surprising.
Oh, man. So that's going to be 2 damage here. And we know that there's no shield value in Alex's hand. This could put him in a very desperate spot. A critical trigger on the defensive. That's really good to secure him some extra shield he might not need to use here. It's going to be riding into Gust. He's going to discard a card now. Just deciding.
Like Marco understands right now that he doesn't need Tempest. He's got enough plussing. He sees his opponent's hand. He sees the opponent damage. Going into Gust, getting another twin drive because of all the support. Just getting that extra person. See,
and that's it.
Another trigger.
That's it. I mean, of course, he already saw his winning strategy already. Mark already knew. Well, I already have my added pluses already. Me getting a twin drive here over 1 drive is way more beneficial than getting rid of one of your grade 2s. That doesn't really matter to me. So it just gives you a lot of ways of dealing with a deck like Orfist that's relatively aggressive, right? Mm-hmm. It's a really aggressive archetype, and it tries to get out of gate and tries to rush you down. But then on the backswing, it just put him out almost instantly.
It's a thing you said. Why not use Orfist as a skill? Well, because I'm gonna get rid of cards in my hand.
Yeah,
It's that benefit. It's the plus minus of Orfist. Like you can
Definitely.
go really big and really stupid, really
Yeah.
fast. The only problem is your hand suffers, your resources suffer, and if the opponent stays alive and or not crippled, you're now in the disadvantageous position. It's a very much go big or go home type of deck. If everything goes correctly, you're golden. We've seen it. He got second place at Worlds.
yeah. I mean, it's one of those type of decks that even after Jet coming out, never slowed down. It actually became one of the archetypes, especially with the added support of because the Grade 2 Calibre is a set 6 card,
Yep.
right? It's a older card, like almost like a half a year ago, and it's still doing a whole lot of work now because a lot of people have started to recognize the best way to play against striding mechanics, just like in the old days, is playing very low to the ground, playing a whole bunch of Grade 2s, and pushing out a whole lot of aggression. And Orfist, even though it's not a stride deck, sometimes it plays like a stride deck.
Yeah.
It sometimes plays till turn 4. It can play aggressive, of course, Combine Rusher, your Soul Blast orders, all that stuff can happen. But wow, that's amazing. That's really, really crazy to see.
You think with an Orfist deck, it would cause you only you play 3 orders, but you really focus on 2 of them, on the draw one and on the +5 to the tokens, correct?
Yes.
Does the opponent and the game state dictate which one you want to really focus into at that moment?
My mindset is when playing Orfist, quickly before we leave for
Yeah.
is if you're against longer games, the draw order is a little bit better because it draws you into better pieces. And then if you're playing an aggressive game against an aggressive deck, you do the token. And then longer games, again, you do the +5.
Okay. All right. So that was round 3. Really intense and very fast match. We're going to take a break, and then we'll be back with round 4. See you in a bit.
I'll soon.